done. Mitt Romney's relationship with the political right is always fair game. Let's talk about that and other primary headlines with Gentry. He's a former national political director for the Republican Party. He's joining us today from Las Vegas. And in Austin, Texas, Democratic political consultant Ed Espinoza. Gentry, I'm going to start with you on this one. Some conservatives still clearly have concerns about Mitt Romney. Does he still have work to do you think, on the right?
Well, of course he's got work to do on the right, but I tell you, the 60-40 number on this question about whether he's conservative enough, I thought was a very good number for him. Because in a four-way race, 60% of the primary electorate believing he's conservative enough is good enough to get him there. 40% saying that he's not conservative enough really, I think, speaks to his electability among independent voters and moderate Democrats this fall. So I think that's a great place for him to be right now.
Ed, how much work do you think Mitt Romney has to do with the right?
Well, 60% of conservatives might be a good place for him to be, but he still hasn't broke 50% in a single primary. And for him to get there, he's going to need to consolidate his conservative base. American politics these days are built on strong bases. Obama's got a strong progressive base. Republicans got to have a strong conservative base. For him to get there, he's going to need to build that strong foundation. And if he can't do it in the primaries, he's probably going to have to pick a very conservative running mate to make that happen.
Let's talk about Newt Gingrich's speech last night. It was a concession speech of sorts. He never said congratulations to Mitt Romney. He launched right into attacks on President Obama, made it basically sound like it was the day after the election in November. Let's listen to just a bit of it.
If Barack Obama gets reelected, it will be a disaster for the United States of America. Make no bones about it. If he can have a record this bad, unemployment this bad, deficits this bad, policies this bad, gasoline prices this high, and still get reelected, you can't imagine how radical he'll be in his second term.
Gentry, explain the strategy to us here, please.
Well, I think it's a smart approach for Speaker Gingrich. I mean, look, the #1 issue, as we saw in the CNN exit polling last night, was who is most electable against Barack Obama. And we've seen a lot of anger. You've seen several prominent Republicans come out and complain at both the Gingrich and the Romney campaigns over the last couple of days about the negative tone and tenor of this campaign. And so if Speaker Gingrich can return his messaging to an anti-Obama kind of a platform in Nevada in these February contests leading into Super Tuesday in early March, I think it's a very good strategy for his campaign.
Ed, have you ever heard a concession speech like that one?
You know, it's definitely unusual, but I think that it shows when going negative in your own party is not working, go negative on the other party and maybe it will. But what it also shows is that the difference in this primary this time is that it's not a sprint through the early states, it's a marathon through all of them. I think Gingrich was sending a signal last night that he's in this for the long haul.
Certainly so. And the question is really, I mean, I know Mitt Romney has been saying, well, that's okay. I'm not asking anybody to drop out because the longer they stay in, it makes him a better candidate, certainly tests him more. But at some point, Gentry, doesn't that start to turn around? Doesn't that do some damage to Mitt Romney?
Well, at some point, perhaps it may. But I think clearly the Romney team has learned some important lessons. Look, they really had a boot, so to speak, on Newt Gingrich's throat after Iowa, after New Hampshire in particular. And both the Romney campaign and the Romney super PAC, to some extent, both let their foot off, let the pressure off in South Carolina. And, of course, instead of talking about a January sweep, all of a sudden the race became much more competitive. Yet the Romney team was able to put it back, both the campaign and the super PAC, put it back on track in Florida last night. I think many observers expect them to do well here in Nevada as well on Saturday. And so the campaign really has learned how to engage in a political knife fight when they had to. That's a lesson that's going to serve them well in the November general election. And I really don't think that this primary contest is going to last, at least not as aggressively, much past Super Tuesday in March.
Ed, I'll give you a very quick final word here.
Inter-party attacks might make Romney a better candidate, but it doesn't make him a more conservative candidate. If he wants to make a statement and win over conservatives, he would do something bold, like pick a conservative running mate and do it 3 weeks from now.
All right. You wrapped that up nicely for us, Ed. Thank you very much. Ed Espinoza, Gentry Collins. That is fair game today. Nice to see you both.